Good morning, all. It is Friday, August 5th, and another good week behind us. Some more, of course, news to talk about. But the first thing I want to bring up, as I said in the last one, is of course what we're trying to do as an organization, and we're trying to rally people behind us to do some battling here. We did see the three of those who watched the video jumped in. We appreciate you, David Nelson, Joey Menendez, and Tom Oliver. Just appreciate you guys. Jess, of course, one of my guys I work with, he jumped in and did this too, which, last month, I just, come on, you can't help but just be completely grateful for people that want to participate in such a cause. When we've got, 400, 500, 600 people watch this video, if everybody did $50, do the math, right? I'm not saying every time you watch the video, right? But if in one occasion, everybody's like, well, something, we're just going to do it. We're going to knock that in there. Do the math on that. Look what we can make happen. And I know that it seems like it's just going into what can be just a big bottomless pit, because there's so much out there that needs to be done with respect to this, and that's never going to be ending. And you're right, this is a never-ending cause. This is something that none of us can ever stop fighting. That's why we're just going at it after every transaction, right? If you're a real estate investor, you buy a house, contribute. You're expanding yourself. Let's use some capital from that transaction as a way to put it towards a cause. I believe that a person's you benefit from what you do when you have a cause behind it. Be a cause capitalist. So that's how I think might be the best way to go about this. So I'll get off my soapbox on this, but thank you guys for doing that. Thank you to everybody who's contributed. It doesn't even have to even be through my site. That went direct, or it has another source, right? There's others great sources out there other than OUR, like Free a Girl and other types of organizations. And what I find interesting, I'll say this one thing. I'm at the End of Slavery tour. I'm the host for this tour. I'm the one who's on stage bringing everybody up. And when we were doing the advertising for this, especially on social, we would get things taken down for social and political issues. Now, it's crazy to me that this would be labeled as a political issue when we're talking about freeing people that are being trafficked, being kidnapped, taken, and made to do something to this effect, or people that are promised to, we'll get you into the United States, but you're going to pay for it, right? You're going to work for us. Well, they get this job that they're being told, and that job is to be a sex worker, and it's going to take them 5 years to work that off, and it's at the whim of their captors as to how often they have to perform. So think about that. Think about how ridiculous this is, and that it's become a so-called political issue. My belief, Aaron Chapman, is we need to stay divided as a people so that the people who are supposedly running things can keep running things. You can't be divided with a cause like this. This is not something that people can get divided about. I believe there's right and there's wrong. If there's either that this has to stop, or if you're even remotely for it because you're one of the dirtbags doing it or participating in some form. Period. There's no middle ground. You can't say, I'm in the air on that subject. I don't know if anybody could possibly say that. You're either a trafficker or a person participating and making money off it, or out there, buying or participating, or as a customer, or you're against it. That's it. That's how this works. So keep the people divided. Don't let them unite behind anything. And this is something to unite behind. And that's where I think that we're dealing with these issues and why this continues to be an issue. So that being said, let's get into what's going on in the market. So we've had this week, we've got going on with respect to the mortgage-backed securities. We had actually a pretty good week with the Fed raising the rates, and what happened post rate raise. We had a pretty good improvement in the market, and because of that improvement, we were able to see, several days of benefit to the mortgage-backed securities, but it was not long. And then we ended up seeing a turnaround, a rather significant turnaround. So what's interesting is when things improve, you've got the Fed raising the rates. Everybody thought we all knew it was coming, so it didn't have a negative effect. We knew that they were fighting inflation. So you saw, because of raising the rates, we saw several days of improvement, which made the pricing much better, but took several days to get there. Then you have the Fed come out. It was the St. Louis Fed. She comes out, and the Fed chairman or president, whatever you want to call her, starts making comments, and her comments completely tanked it, right? That's a big move, right? That's 3 days worth of movement all in one day, gone. We had a little bit of improvement the next day, but then it wasn't long and it's back down again. Why would the comments do that? And I have to understand why this is. We're still got great pricing, right? We're off of our lower levels. We're still within this really wide trading range that's been labeled here. So I'm not overly concerned. We're still in good shape, but today we took a big beating too. We were coming back yesterday and the day before, looking pretty good, making up ground. I got to analyze what happened this morning. Jobs reports coming out, all that kind of stuff, and I'm thinking that that it might be a little bit hotter than what they were anticipating. I haven't analyzed that yet because it's very, very early where I'm at. So I'm thinking that's what's causing us a little grief there. But what was being thought here, the information that's conveyed to me with where the comments from the St. Louis Fed president has to do with trying to control the housing market, because the more you can kind of control that and keep that from getting crazily inflated, that's another way to try and control inflation. Because look at what we have in the housing is part of the greatest expense of anybody's life, and then when that starts to inflate significantly, that has an impact on a lot of things. So I'm thinking that from what I've been reading, what's information being sent to me, that is an effort to keep that from going out of hand. Interest rates are what really drove that up. Let's think about this. People talk about affordability and the affordability index being affected by interest rates going up. But we also have, if people can afford more because of rate, then prices start to go up because more people are out there in the market starting to buy, and they're pushing the price up. So that affordability on that same house is actually shrinking anyway, right? Because if you got a house that people are bidding up that would have normally sold for, say, 300,000, now it's being bid up to, say, 370, which has happened, probably even more in some cases. Now what do you got? You already killed that whole affordability differential you were getting from the lower interest rate because the price of the house went up so much. So in reality, one way or the other, it's going, you're going to get bit some form. Interest rates go up a bit, prices come down a bit, you get some equilibrium. Is it perfect equilibrium? No, it's not. But doesn't change the fact that it still has an effect one way or the other. You're still going to be affected by that. So that's what I think is going on out there. At least that's the information that I've been conveyed. They don't have firsthand knowledge. I wasn't sitting in the back of the room while they talked about it, but that seems to be what's going on there. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you watching, subscribing, and donating. Right, that more than anything, try to help that cause. I'll continue to keep getting deep into the cause as much as I can to see what we can do to affect change in the world on that physically, while we also work to campaign to help people to generate revenue for the cost, so that way they can the operations continue to go on and battle something that's just out of hand. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you on Tuesday.